Hello, I'm Joe. Today I'm going to talk about the new Royal Blood album, How Did We Get So Dark? Alright, so Royal Blood is back with their second studio album. I'm definitely a big fan of this band. Back in 2014, they came out with their first record. I remember just randomly deciding to click on it in iTunes or something and see what it was. It was cool to hear a new rock band in 2014 coming out with some really energetic, kind of heavy, awesome rock music. And then come to find out that it's just bass guitar making all that noise, and that was pretty awesome. So I listened to that first album quite a lot, and I was definitely really excited to hear this new one. And it definitely does not disappoint. It's a pretty quick album, coming in about 34, 35 minutes, 10 songs, but I tend to personally like that a lot. I like older albums that, they were made to fit on vinyl, and they were made to have a side A and a side B, and then wrap themselves up fairly quickly. There wasn't really much room for filler or anything like that, so I tend to think that older albums are a lot more cohesive than things nowadays. So I definitely like that this album is 10 songs, 35 minutes, and a solid runtime for me. No room for filler or anything, and it definitely shows. I think all 10 of these songs are really great. I will say, though, that I don't think this album is quite as explosive as the first one. Some songs on there, they would get to a certain point and they would speed up, really bring the energy more. This one's a lot more refined, a lot more polished, a lot more straightforward. But I do think they make up for the lack of, build up in the songs with just really strong, groove-orientated tracks. You'll definitely be, bobbing your head to this album quite a lot. The songs really have this great feel and great groove to them. First one that comes to mind is I Only Lie When I Love You. This was a single that had come out before the album, and just it's so groovy. I'm listening to the song where the verses are just simple drums going on, but really just in right in the pocket, right in the sweet spot. I keep saying it, but it just grooves so well. And the same with the vocals on top of that, they have a nice rhythm to them. And I'm thinking, man, this song could totally use cowbell. And then in the second verse, there it is, throwing some nice cowbell accents in there. It just adds to the groove even more. Lights Out was the first single. That song's definitely grown on me. I wasn't that excited about it at first because I thought, this just sounds pretty much like what we heard on the first album, just maybe more refined and more polished. But I was glad to see, listening to the rest of the album, that they change it up a little bit. It doesn't stick to the formula of the first record completely. I think the best example of that in terms of changing things up a little bit on this one would be Hole in Your Heart, second to last song on the album, one of my personal favorites on here. I like the kind of, I don't know if it's keyboard in the beginning or a different type of distortion on the bass guitar or pedal or something like that. It's got a really cool sound to it, kind of different for them. A little creepy vibe, kind of menacing, and it just kind of drives throughout the verses, and then this chorus hits that's really, groovy again, nice heavy riffs, and, a catchy vocal line to go on top of that. Don't Tell is another song like that, where it kind of, has a slow groove to it. Not much changes throughout the song, but there are these nice, almost solo-like sections of the bass where it'll switch between the riff and a little bit of shredding going on there, which I think is really great. Hook, Line, and Sinker is another good one, another single that was released before the album. This one has a very cool, Queens of the Stone Age kind of vibe for me. I'd definitely say the heaviest on the record. That riff in the beginning is, dirty and really cool. And the way that the vocals come in at certain points in the song really do remind me of Josh Homme's singing and his style, and the way he, makes the rhythm work with the lyrics. So I think you could definitely tell that there was some influence from that band on here, which I like, and it works out pretty well for me. The middle of the album is kind of okay for me. It has Look Like You Know and Where Are You Now. I definitely think it's solid songs. I wouldn't skip over them or anything. They don't really stand out to me too much. But I think they're overall pretty good. They got kind of a shuffle beat going on in both of them, and I think that's maybe why that section of the album lags just a little bit for me. Maybe the song should have been split up because they do sound a little similar. But on the other hand, you have a song like She's Creeping, which has a really dirty sounding bass riff going on in the beginning there. I like that they took the chance to throw in a song like this that's a little off-putting at first. I've gotten used to it, and then it definitely pays off because that kind of higher bass line. It's very dissonant almost at times, but then when it drops in for the chorus and the same kind of riff is going on, but now it gets into the lower register, it ends up sounding so smooth, and I like that a lot. Closing the album, we have Sleep, which I think is another solid song, but I haven't even gotten to the title track yet. I've saved it for last because I definitely think it's one of my favorites on the album. And the song How Did We Get So Dark itself, just a really great opener, a great song. You have kind of everything going on in this song that makes Royal Blood a great band. Cool riffs, catchy vocal melodies and harmonies and stuff like that. And then I think, as I was saying, the first album did more where the songs would build up and they would explode, and this one, the songs stay the course for the most part. But I think it doesn't detract from them. It's just something that I noticed going through it. But this title track, I think, is the closest we get to really exploding in the middle and towards the end of the song, with those awesome riffs going on in there. And I think the ending of the song is really cool too. Very interesting. You have varying levels to how intense the music level is, but on top of that is this syncopated "How Did We Get So Dark" line with like falsetto vocals, and it's interesting to hear as the music comes in and it's driving more and more how the words are still placed in that syncopated time over top of them. It's pretty interesting to me, and something a little different, something cool, but overall it gets the album off to a really great start. Definitely one of my favorites on there, as well as I Only Lie When I Love You, probably Hole in Your Heart, Don't Tell, and Hook, Line, and Sinker. I'm interested to see where they go next. I would imagine that just playing with bass and drums has its limitations. Some of these songs on the album, like I said, in the middle there, are a little samey sounding, but not anything that I would skip over. It's just I'm interested to see where they could take this. I'll definitely be following along with the band. But overall, I think this is a really solid album. I've been listening to it quite a lot in the past week. So I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. If you like the album or you don't like the album or whatever, you just want to say what's up, throw a comment down there. And also don't forget to subscribe. There's plenty of more album reviews on the channel already and coming up soon. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon.